So I wanted to make a video of me basically doing like a nighttime routine. I did do some recording and then I was like, I've been wanting to try the filming angle of, first of all, I want to be using the back camera more often because I never use it. And I know that that's one, like, I want to say tip to where it comes to recording. And I don't do that. So yeah. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I started recording and then I was like, let me change the angle. And then I don't think I saved any of the prior footage. So what I will do is give you a quick little rundown. Okay. So the first thing that I did was brush my teeth. Actually, before I brushed my teeth, I did an oil pull with this organic coconut oil. I think I got this from Aldi's. I like to do that for about 3 minutes. It's something new that I've been doing for, I want to say, a month or a little over a month. It makes a very big difference. I just feel like my mouth feels a lot cleaner. So I did that first. I brushed my teeth and then I used a water flosser to floss my teeth. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been a flosser. I just never did. I really just hated doing it. I have flossing sticks. I have the things, but it wasn't until I got the water flosser that I've been super consistent, and I definitely do see a difference with that as well. I also got myself a tongue scraper. I don't know if I'm doing it right or if I just don't need it. I don't know if that's a thing, but nothing happens when I do that. Like, usually I see like people taking all this gunk out of their mouth, and that just doesn't happen for me. Nothing's happening. So, that's not something that I do very often because I just feel like maybe I don't need it. Okay. I don't know what to say. After that I decided to go into my skincare, which is also something that I have been more consistent with. It's been a long time since I've actually really poured into myself, and these are the things that I've been doing to pour into myself. So I've always liked to use the apricot face scrub my brother put me on. Honestly, I can't tell you what brand is my favorite because if it says it's an apricot scrub, I want it. So I've used this brand, I've used other brands. Um this is what I've been using since I've been getting back into my loving on me type of routine. So I will say that I like this one, but I don't have a particular favorite. So I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't have a particular favorite. This is what I'm using right now. Oh my god, I got scrub in my nail. So that is what I did. I scrubbed my face and then I wiped it off. So I'm gonna get into the rest. I'm gonna get into the rest of whatever this video is gonna consist of, and I'm probably gonna shut them. I'll probably do a voiceover. I wanted to tell a little story and do a little part two on my journey with anxiety and depression and kind of just share like one really crazy moment that I experienced amongst many. I have a few stories that I can tell. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna try to make sure that I'm looking into the camera lens because I just realized I was just looking into the mirror. I thought that was good enough. But it's like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to me? Because you're not looking at me. I don't know who you're talking to, what's going on. So I'm just trying. And I'm proud of myself. And I appreciate you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really have not been promoting my YouTube at all. Consistency, discipline, and all the great things are not something that I'm used to. Okay, I'm trying to build better habits and really just work towards my goals. So all the support is appreciated. I don't even know if I should get into the story right now, or we should just do my little nighttime facial routine. Um, I do want to say before I get into the rest of the video that God has been so good to me, and I haven't even been spending as much time as I should. But you know what? I am so thankful that God has continued to be with me on this journey, to be with me on this walk. He's definitely pulled me out of a lot of dark places. And there's so many things I want to share with y'all, such as me no longer gardening. It's something that I've been doing, that I was doing since I was about 15 years old. And I have so many stories that I can share within just that. But I think it would be amazing to talk about why I stopped, how I stopped, and all that greatness. So um, I don't know. I guess I'll just leave a surprise for the voiceover after I stop talking here and just get into my facial. My facial, is it a facial? I don't know. Um, all right, I'm gonna be quiet now because I don't. I just. All right, goodbye. I mean, see you later. I mean, all right. Don't you love that right after I said I was gonna shut up, I still had more to say? Not a surprise. However, we have transitioned into voiceover, and I just want to thank you guys again for being here, for all the support and the love that I have been getting on my recent posts on Instagram. Consistency is definitely the key. And I am so proud of myself for how I'm ending this year so that we can start the new year on a better tone. You heard me? All right. So while I do my little stuff, because here, wait, just a second. Because here I realized as I was putting the toner on that I felt like still like I had some of the apricot scrub on my face. So then I decided, let me thoroughly clean my face because obviously I was dripping the hell out. Okay, so anyways, moving on. So I'm gonna share a story of a part of my journey with anxiety and depression. Um, if you haven't already, I do have a part one on YouTube, but I also have what I feel like is a better part one on my Instagram. It really just gets into the details of my first encounter with having a panic attack, which really is the start of me kind of spiraling down this journey of anxiety and depression. It definitely started off with anxiety and then it trickled into um, depression because I just felt like I was not like everyone else around me. I just remember looking around and just wishing that I was normal. Like just observing the people around me after that point and just realizing that everybody seems to be pretty calm. Everybody seems to be enjoying themselves and I'm here just in my head talking to myself, telling myself to not freak out, praying that I don't have a panic attack. Um and just wishing that I literally was observing everyone around me trying to mimic them, but it was just so hard. It was just so hard. Like I was trying to like adjust to my environment, but I couldn't get out of my head. And what started to happen is that I began to develop what my lovely therapist at the time decided to call school phobia, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever. And it irked me so much to hear that, to hear my mom say that, because I knew that I didn't have a phobia of school. I was scared to have another freaking panic attack. And I just didn't understand why people couldn't understand that. But if I can be honest, I wasn't very vocal about my fears. I wasn't very trusting of everyone. And I feel like at that time, while my mother was doing an amazing job, trying to get me the help that I need, or needed at that time, um, she was also telling everyone my business. I'm talking the lady at the grocery store, a random person on the street, people in the nail salon. I'm just like, girl, can I have some privacy? I'm struggling right now, but the world doesn't need to know. And I just feel like that was my mom's way of like trying to cope with what she was dealing with inside regarding what I was dealing with. And I think that she was just looking for someone to talk to, someone to kind of relate to her as the mother in the situation. And now I am more understanding to that, but I still feel like I needed my privacy. That did not help my anxiety at all. However, I no longer wanted to go to school. I absolutely did not want to go to school, and that developed additional issues in itself, right? Because I'm a minor. I have to go to school. If I don't go to school, my mother is going to get in trouble. My mother is going to have to deal with the consequences of me not wanting to go to school, and I would also have to deal with some stuff as well. But ultimately, that falls back on the parent, right? So there was a lot of pressure on my mom at this time. And me being a child, like I understood, but I just didn't understand at the same time. I just knew that whatever was going on in my head was so big and so real to me, and something that I could not explain to anyone. Mainly because I didn't really trust anybody, but also because I low key didn't really understand what I was going through. Like I just didn't get it. Um, so I stopped. I like would not go to school for days, weeks. Sometimes it felt like a month on end. And my mom was like really starting to like get some pressure from the school. My school was like, listen, we don't want to have to call child services. We are understanding what she's going through, because my mom was very like open to the school on what I was dealing with, just so that they understood if I was acting a little strange or if I did not go to school, things of that sort. Like she was letting them know what was going on, and for me, like that was okay. I was okay with the school understanding or being aware of my struggles, because they kind of really worked with my mom a lot, to help me find some sort of like balance in school, which is something that I will talk about at a later time. But yeah, the school definitely worked with my mom a lot. However, they were also on top of my mom. Like, we understand she's going through this stuff. We're willing to do our part while she's here, but she needs to be here. She needs to be in school. Like, we will have to take further action, and we don't want to do that. So, um, yeah, my mom was hearing them, and my mom was doing her very best to try to get me to go to school. And one day she absolutely had enough, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her, because I was going through a lot, but I was not like, I just was not being open and like welcoming the support and the assistance of all of those around me trying their very hardest to help me. And honestly, I think that I was grieving. I lost my father at the age of 10. I think I had my first panic attack at the age of 12. And I don't think that I grieved at all in between that time. And I think that in return is why I developed anxiety. I also lost my father while I was in school. And it was very weird, because I remember being in school that day he passed. And I just remember a shift. I just remember a shift. I just remember something just changing in the air, and me thinking about my dad. And it's crazy because he literally passed while I was in school. So I think that all of that somehow in my brain just did something. And I think that me not grieving, me not dealing with those feelings, me not feeling like I had a safe space, me not feeling like I can talk to anyone, and for some reason, feeling as a child like I had to be the strong one. I don't know. I feel like that's when the anxiety kicked in. Anyways, let's fast forward some. So, one day I didn't want to go to school. I mean, there was a lot of days I didn't want to go to school, but one day I didn't want to go to school and my mom was not having it. Okay. My mom wasn't the mom that was like a disciplinary mom. She definitely would try her best, but I was the one out of the three kids that didn't give a fuck. Okay. I just don't know, but I just did not. Like, you know, there was a lot of yelling, and that's all that it was. And once you get used to the yelling and you realize that there's nothing really backing up what you're even saying, as a kid, it's very important to like make sure that you stand by what you say, whether you're talking calmly, which I think is the best way to like talk to a child, like give them that passive aggressiveness with also standing by what you're saying so that they know I am not playing with you. This is what I said, and I mean that, and I stand by that. So play with me if you want to. My mom's wasn't that mom's, okay? She really did try her best, but she just wasn't that mother. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because you know what? I'll be struggling too. And sometimes I'll be going 0 to 100, and I realized that has to do with a lot of anxiety. And I felt like my mom was under a lot of pressure, under a lot of stress, and she dealt with a lot of anxiety herself that I don't think was addressed, during that time. So my mom was struggling. My mom, lost the love of her life. Like, she was left with three kids. Like, she was going through her own stuff. And here I come, ready to add to all the chaos. And she really had to pause, or I don't want to say pause, but I feel like her having to deal with my craziness didn't allow her to really deal with whatever she was going through in her own head. Um, and I had to pause for a second because that low key made me sad. I feel bad that I put her through so much, but the reality of it is that I was just a kid. You know, I was just a kid. Anyways, I didn't want to go to school, and she was not playing with me. So I think she threatened to call the cops on me, which is something that the therapist told her that she would have to do if I don't want to go to school. But I don't think my mom really wanted to do that. Although one day she did have to call the cops on me, and that will definitely be a part three. However, she was like telling me that if I don't go to school, she's gonna do all this stuff. And for some reason, like, I kind of low key like believed her, because I realized that I was really like, it was getting to that point where it's like, girl, they're gonna take you away from your moms. You are not going to school. Like, you need to go to school. So I remember walking down the stairs from my apartment and making it outside to the front. And literally from before we left the house till I got to the school, I was screaming and crying. I lived on Palmetto and Seneca. So all the way that we had to walk to school was literally like kind of like the main streets. It wasn't the main ave, but it still for me was like a main street where a lot of people would walk up and down. It was crazy, okay? I remember The whole way, my mom yelling at me to continue walking, and me screaming and crying that I didn't want to go, stomping my feet, just acting a fool. Mind you, I'm like 12, maybe just turned 13 years old. Like, girl, you're having a whole baby tantrum. Like, what the hell? I didn't care though. I didn't care. And my mom's like, look, everybody's staring at you. Da, da, da. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, yo, I did not care. But man, if anybody seen me, like, I definitely would have been getting bullied in school for the way I was acting that day because I was literally wilding out. Okay. I remember holding on. Okay, so I went to 77 middle school, right? I remember the block before the school, there was like a corner of a Chinese food spot. On that block, I remember holding on to someone's gate to their apartment building, literally holding on to the gate like, my love, you already walked all this way to the school. You might as well go. Like, what is you doing? I was just not having it. Like, I was holding on to the gate. My mother is pulling me. She's like, yo, your friends are gonna see you. Like, she's trying her best to just get me to calm down, and I just was not. But this woman did not let up. She really like dragged me all the way to school. She pulling me off the gate. And I remember going into the school and just feeling so betrayed and feeling like my mother abandoned me, like my mother didn't care about me, when all of that stuff was absolutely not true. But I just was not happy. And I can't believe that my mom literally had to drag me to school. Like, I can't believe that I was in these streets acting a fool at that big age. Like, somebody really needs to smack me up. But like, honestly, if they would have did that, we would have fought. So not a good idea. I really was the quietest, like, to myself, crazy little girl you could ever meet, to be honest. Like, a lot of people didn't know that I had it in me, but girl, I was about that life. Anyways, this is the end of the story. If you made it this far, I just want to thank you. And if you want to see part 3 of me getting the cops called on me and having to go to a psychiatric place, please like, comment, and subscribe. Not funny, but definitely another crazy part of this journey. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me on this journey, and I'll see you next time. Bye.